bit of technical difficulties. Okay. Let's see. We could test the boundaries. Alright, I gotta finish this tutorial.
To receive this export data and is looking for an object, like a blueprint. And then we have export GPU. You can think of this as optimization. So right now we have fixed size, so we can limit or increase how many calls we have. Now instead of fixed size, we can also set this to per particle. So every particle that you spawn, it'll be that amount. So how do we use this now? So if we come back to condition to export, I want to base this on our collision hits. So if we come to collision and we click on the view options, this drop down, we want to turn on parameter writes. And if we open that up and we scroll down, you should see this output collision valid. And this is a bool. So this is what we want to use. So coming back to export particle data, we can change this condition to export to be collision valid. Now, if this didn't show up for you, it's probably because your export particle data isn't below collision. These need to be in the correct order of operation for you to get this collision valid. So now, if the collision is valid, we're going to...
Alright, so content drawer.
to export a vector, and a float. I'm going to leave this first one as the position, and then even though this says velocity, I want to export color. So I'm going to click on the drop down and I'm going to change this to a linear color, and then I'm going to change this linear color to be our particle color. And now the float to send, if you wanted to send the size, you could. So I'm going to change this float to be be a vector 2D length, because that's how we measure the size of our particles, our sprites. And then this vector, I'm going to change this to be our sprite size. So, based on this collision, if it's valid, we're going to export this data. But now we need to send it somewhere. So I'm going to come up to our user parameters, and I'm going to create a new parameter based on an object. Now, when we come to that, I'm going to rename mine. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine BP callback. And then you'll see that there's nothing to put in here. You can't put anything in here. But in a little bit, we can set it through our blueprint. So if we come back to our export particle data, and we look at our callback handler, where we want to send our export data, if we click on this dropdown, now we can add that BP callback. And I'm just going to leave the allocation alone. So now, let's go and take a look at setting this up with our blueprint. So I'm going to come to our content browser, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a blueprint class from an actor, and we'll call it BP, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll open it up. And now, like usual, the first thing we want to do is add our Niagara system. So I'm going to add Niagara particle system. I'm going to leave the name as it is. Then in the details panel, the Niagara system asset, this is where we want to add the Niagara system that we just made. So in my case,
hold on, I need to make a. Okay, I need.
the first thing we want to do is add our Niagara system. So I'm going to add Niagara particle system. I'm going to leave the name as it is. Then in the details panel, the Niagara system asset, this is where we want to add the Niagara system that we just made. So in my case, it's ns_expo. And once you do that, you should see that your particle is working. So there it goes. So now that we have our blueprint, we still need to set that callback up. We still need to set up a relationship so that this export data can be sent to our blueprint. So we're going to set this BP callback. So I'm going to drag out our Niagara system, and off of this, we're going to type in set, and we're looking for set Niagara variable by string object. And in here, this is
Let's see. Okay, so hold up.
Is sent to, and we're looking for set Niagara. Let's set this BP callback. So I'm going to drag out our Niagara System, and off of this, we're going to type in set, and we're looking for set Niagara variable by string object. And in here, this is where we're going to add that user parameter. So I'm going to type in user.
Pause this. This has got to be. Niagara particle system component. Particle system component. There it is. Okay.
Dot BP callback, or whatever you called it.
Okay.
And I'll just pull this up, and we're going to base this on event begin play. And now we want to put something into this object, and in this case we want a reference to this blueprint. So I'm going to drag off of here, and I'm going to type in self, get a reference to self. So now on begin play we're going to set this, and every time there's a collision we're going to export this data to our BP callback, which is our blueprint. So we have all this set up now. Now how do we get that collision information? How do we get it and use it? So in this case, it's based off of an interface function. So I'm going to come to class settings, and in here you're going to see interfaces, implemented interfaces. We want to add an existing one. So I'm going to click on add, and we're looking for Niagara particle callback handler. And once we add that, you're going to see that this little function just showed up under your interfaces. If we right click that, we can click on implement event. And now every time you collide, this event is going to be called. So you can already just drag off of this and do whatever you want. But in my case, I also want to get that data that we exported. I want to get these two vectors in this float. So off of data, I'm going to do a for each loop so that we can separate them all out independently. And then off of this array element, I'm going to break it. Specifically, I'm going to break basic particle data. And now you should notice that this says position, size, and velocity. Just like in our Niagara System and our export data to blueprint. Position, size, velocity. So now I want to do some things with this. So off of the loop body, I'm going to print string, and we'll just open this up so that we can see what's going on here. And in the in string, I'm going to put the position, and it's going to convert the position to a string. And then off of the velocity, remember this is color. Remember we have our particle color in there. So I'm going to drag the velocity into the text color. We'll just move this out of the way. So we're getting our collision, we're going through our array, and then based on every hit, we're getting the position written into the screen, and we're getting the color to change the text color on the screen. So let's go take a look at this. So I'm going to compile and save, and we'll just drag our blueprint out, just pull it up a little bit, and let's just play and simulate. There we go, the position and the color. So we're seeing green, we're seeing some yellow, another one, we're seeing another green. Yeah, this is cool, this is working. So now, if you wanted to add
Alright, so and then this goes into here, and this goes here. And then we should be able to print out the collision info. Probably. Somewhere. And then we can take this thing we built over here. Alright. really slows it down, huh? Alright. There's other ways to do this. To do the same translation on actual star objects when I'm within like a certain AU, modified AU of them, maybe like 10 is too big, like 2 would probably be fine. Alright, no, then back over here, delete. I mean, that's fine. It doesn't hurt anything. Hold up. Something going on. Hold up. Play tilde. Nope. God damn it. Tilde. Show. Collision is triggering. I broke it again. What the hell? And now it's just working. Very strange. Alright, well, it seems like it's working again. Alright, so I think the next step is maybe get the Nebulous Sphere in here. Start tinkering with that. I have to make... Well, I don't actually have to make more noise libraries. I have the one that I had already. I kind of want to make a new one, though. And I can use the player's coordinate. Yes, I have some ideas about the Nebulous Sphere. I need to go look at the post-process model that I did for the other one, or I can have it close to the player as well and have it like post-process behind everything. Okay. 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 I need... It's time, I think, for noise libraries. So this is something I might like to separate. And I actually need to exercise soon anyway. So the next time I come back, it will be something that I actually know how to do. I don't have to sit here puzzling the whole time trying to figure shit out. But I'm gonna work on a noise library before I go to the next part.